This is the new VMAX VX5 Pro GT. Back in 2015, an unknown brand from the land of mountains, cheese and clocks entered the electric scooter market, and since then VMAX has been busy honing its scooters with all the precision and ingenuity that you'd expect from a Swiss manufacturer. The VX5 Pro GT is the perfect encapsulation of this process. Building on the groundwork laid down by the original VX5, the new model refines the formula by adding upgraded 9-inch tubeless tyres, front and rear indicators, a refreshed display and a new handlebar unit. Altogether, these improvements elevate what was already a well-received scooter. Yet, despite its new design, the VX5 Pro GT remains affordable. This will be music to the ears of anyone who's got their eyes on the costlier VX2 Pro, since the new edition comes with all of its key features. Now, if you want to hear more about it, stick around as I give you an in-depth look at its design and features, as well as the results from my performance tests. Above all else, the one thing that you can be sure of with a Swiss brand is excellent build quality. You see, while many budget brands buy pre-built scooters from various manufacturers and slap their logos on the frames, VMAX owns their manufacturing facility, meaning you get a unique scooter with a proprietary build, design and feature set. To put this into perspective, the VX5 Pro alongside the new i2 Pro has the best build quality in its price class. The fact that the battery is UL 2272 certified, meaning it's passed several tests for fire safety and electrical hazards, is another marker of the quality on offer, as are the handlebars. Measuring 21.9 inches, they're perfectly proportioned for its power, and when we take a closer look at its setup against some of its most fierce rivals, its handlebars are the widest. By comparison, they're 33% wider than those found on the Turboant X7 Max and Highboy S2 Pro, 18% wider than the GoTrax G4, 10% wider than the Turboant V8 and 7% wider than the new i2 Pro. From this data alone, it's easy to see that the VX5 Pro is unlike any of its competitors, and the difference that this makes to its handling is noticeable. Coupled with the extremely tactile grips, smooth thumb throttle and easy to use rocker switch for the turn signals, it hits a home run where ergonomics are concerned. The one misstep in the cockpit is its display, which gets washed out in direct sunlight, but the mobile app makes up for this slight mishap. Not only can you keep an eye on various stats and specs in real time, including your battery percent and voltage, speed, electrical current, motor power, controller temperature, distance travelled and total mileage, but you can also lock and unlock the scooter, turn the lights on or off, switch between eco and sport mode, change the units of measurement from imperial to metric, and select kick to start or zero start mode. Then in the advanced settings, you can adjust the strength of your acceleration and regenerative brake. Look, finding an affordable electric scooter with an integrated mobile app is rare, yet VMAX's Swiss-inspired design bucks the trend. This is also evident in its lighting package. The 60 lux headlight just about makes the cut for safe night rides, while the taillight glows red and gets brighter when you apply the brakes. I just wish it flashed when the brakes were applied. Then, of course, there are the turn signals. Not only do they blink at the ends of the handlebars, but at the rear of the deck too. And if you accidentally drop the scooter, there's no chance of them smashing. Interestingly though, the VX5 Pro is the only scooter in its price class to have front and rear turn signals, subsequently making it the most well-equipped budget scooter. The same praise can be given to its frame. VMAX has diligently forged a reputation for outstanding durability, so you know what you're getting with the VX5 Pro. Its aluminum build is lightweight and resilient, while its IPX6 water resistance rating is a testament to the latter. The stem, meanwhile, is rock solid, while a 9-degree rake angle amplifies its stability and nimbleness. A word must also go to its immaculate cable management, which helps to maintain a clean-cut silhouette. Talking about silhouettes, it looks almost identical to the VMAX VX2 Pro, with only the tyres being the most distinguishable feature. Now, in my review of the VX2 Pro, I mentioned that its 10-inch tyres were excellent. Well, those on the VX5 Pro are an inch smaller and narrower, yet they still maintain traction to deliver a responsive riding experience. The wavy tread pattern plays a key role here, elevating them above the tyres sported by the vast majority of its similarly priced competitors. This home run is further augmented by the grip line deck, which by my measurements offers 17.5 by 6.3 inches of usable space. This is just enough to strike an L-shaped stance with some spare room in between each foot. Plus, with a 265 pounds load bearing capacity, the VX5 Pro appears to be an attractive option for heavier riders on a budget, but to stay on the safe side, I believe that those higher on the scale would be better suited to the more powerful VX2 Pro or VX4. As for the space below the deck, I measured its ground clearance at 3.5 inches, so I would avoid rolling over curbs. The final area of assessment in my design and features section of this review is portability. Tipping the scales at 36.8 pounds, it fits snugly into the lightweight scooter category. Plus, with its relatively diminutive frame, it can be stored in tight spaces without much hassle. At its heart, though, is a slick folding mechanism that's super easy to operate. Simply unlock the lever and the stem can be collapsed in seconds. A spring-loaded latch on the back of the handlebars then hooks into the rear fender to facilitate easy lifting. So, with all of that covered, let's take a look at the results from my performance tests. As with all of my reviews, before I share the results from my speed, acceleration, hill climbing, braking, shock absorption and ride quality tests, let me first explain the test conditions. I'm 6'1", weigh 197 pounds and used high precision GPS data loggers to collect the test data. So with those out of the way, let's take a look at its speed. Equipped with a 36 volt 400 watt motor and a peak power output of 840 watts, VMAX claims that the VX5 Pro can reach 18 miles per hour. Based on my test, I clocked 17.4 miles per hour. This is enough for the majority of first-time riders, though I would consider the VX2 Pro if you want something with a little more zip. Comparing this performance to 9 similarly priced scooters, the VX5 Pro GT achieves a middle-of-the-pack ranking. The Turboant V8 and GoTrax G4 take the lead, but this is to be expected since both have bigger motors equating to 450 watts and 500 watts respectively. Nevertheless, there's only a 2.6 miles per hour difference, which is barely noticeable when riding at full clip. Next, we have acceleration. After completing 4 two-way directional runs, so 8 tests in total, I can reveal that the VX5 Pro GT takes 6.7 seconds to hit 15 miles per hour. Again, against the backdrop of its rivals, its performance secures it a mid-table position. Take a closer look though, and there are just milliseconds between it, the new KQi2 Pro, Turboant V8 and GoTrax G4, meaning all are indistinguishable from each other. An argument can be made for the VX5 Pro having the upper hand. Its mobile app allows you to adjust the strength of your acceleration, and it has the shortest stopping distance of all its competitors, giving it the edge where control is concerned. There is, however, a notable difference between the VX5 Pro and the Highboy S2 Pro. Here, the S2 Pro is 22% quicker off the line. There's a caveat though. It has solid rubber tyres, meaning inferior ride quality. As is often the case with these comparisons, it boils down to your priorities. It's also worth noting that while the VX5 completed my 10% hill grade test, I don't recommend it for anything more challenging since it doesn't have the torque or motor power to eat up steep inclines. Shifting the focus to range, the VX5 Pro can be purchased in 3 variants, either the LT, ST or GT. Each represents a step up in price, but also a bigger battery and longer range. This review is based on the GT, which has a claimed maximum of 22 miles. My test revealed that its real world range was 19.04 miles. I maintained an average speed of 12.6 miles per hour, climbed a total of 761 feet, and the temperature hovered at around 60.3 degrees Fahrenheit. I must stress how impressive this performance is. The real world range of most scooters typically equates to 60 to 70% of their maximum, while the VX5 Pro GT achieved 87%. This extends to its ranking among similarly priced models. For a scooter that costs less than $600, it performs exceptionally well, beating all but one of its competitors. The Turboant V8 takes the lead with a real world range of 25 miles. This is expected though, considering that it has 2 batteries, one of which is swappable. Together they hold 44% more energy than the GT's single unit. Riding for a long time, however, requires a comfortable scooter. And while both the V8 and GT achieve similar levels of ride quality, there's no denying that the GT has the components needed for longer lasting performance, such as its regenerative braking system, low maintenance drum brake, and UL 2272 certified battery. The V8 does give you the option of buying an additional battery to extend your range though, so you may want to factor this into your decision. Taking these comparisons a step further, I assessed the VX5 Pro's ability to absorb shocks against its most fierce rivals. Now, the first thing to know here is that it doesn't come with a suspension system, and this is hardly a surprise as the only scooters in its price class that do are the Turboant V8 and Highboy S2 Pro, both of which have dual rear springs. Yet, despite what may seem to be an advantage, both setups are stiff, meaning they don't absorb shocks. Ultimately, there's no major difference in how the VX5 Pro's shock absorbing capabilities stack up against its competitors. Its tubeless tyres do a good enough job of soaking up minor bumps and cracks in the asphalt, but you'll still feel a few jolts. If you want a scooter that's relatively close in price to the VX5 Pro GT and is equipped with front and rear suspension, then I recommend checking out the SPLACH Turbo. If, however, you're seeking top tier ride quality on a budget, then it doesn't get much better than the VX5 Pro. With wider than normal handlebars, extremely grippy tyres, and a balanced frame, every component complements the next to create a well-rounded ride that's perfectly suited to roads and paved areas. Interestingly, the VX5 Pro felt the same to ride as the more expensive VX2 Pro. The latter was faster though, making it slightly more fun. And now for the grand finale, the results from my braking tests. Coming equipped with a drum at the front and a regenerative system at the rear, it brought me to a stop from 15 miles per hour in just 2 meters. This is an outstanding level of performance for 2 reasons. The first is that it relies on a single mechanical brake to do the heavy lifting, and the second is that it achieves the shortest stopping distance among its similarly priced rivals. As with my other reviews of VMAX scooters, including the VX2 Pro and VX4, I was intrigued to find that the regenerative brake was operated via a traditional lever. Typically, regen systems are built into paddles like those found on Apollo scooters. On its own, the regen brake delivered a stopping distance of 8.9 meters. Its strength can be adjusted via the mobile app, though I recommend keeping it on the strongest setting, which is 10. Long gone are the days when a budget of just $600 would get you a rickety scooter. Bearing all the hallmarks of Switzerland's famed commitment to precision engineering, the VX5 Pro is both reliable and robust. You see, while some scooters prioritise power per dollar, they leave build quality by the wayside. With the VX5 Pro, however, you get the best of both worlds, a well-balanced performance profile and top-of-the-line design. Factor in a real-world tested range that's among the longest in its price category, a stopping distance that's one of the shortest that I've ever recorded, and a host of premium features, and you have a scooter bursting with value. Pros include it has top tier ride quality in the sub $600 class, wider than normal handlebars that promote good handling, one of the longest real world tested ranges in its price category, the shortest stopping distance among its rivals, a regenerative braking system that recycles kinetic energy to recharge the battery on the go, a high degree of build quality with a UL 2272 certified battery, a clean, simple and functional design, grippy, nimble tyres, immaculate cable management, turn signals that are visible from the front, rear and sides, a mobile app that allows for customised performance, a slick folding mechanism, a 40.2-inch deck to handlebar height that makes it suitable for tall riders up to 6'3", a protective IPX6 water resistance rating, long fenders that prevent splashback, a quiet motor, it's low maintenance and it has one of the best warranties in the industry, giving you 2 years of protection, whilst VMAX also cover all shipping costs related to warranty claims. This is very rare, with almost all other retailers and brands charging you shipping fees. Cons include the display gets washed out in direct light, and while the tail light is bright at night, it doesn't flash when you brake. Instead, it just glows a brighter red. Now, if you're still unsure as to whether the VX5 Pro GT is the right scooter for you, then you may want to consider the following alternatives. Keeping things in the VMAX line, my first recommendation is the VX2 Pro LT. This scooter is almost identical to the VX5 Pro with the same features and a similar real-world range of 19.86 miles, but it has a more powerful 48-volt 500-watt motor, equating to a 41% faster tested top speed and 43% quicker acceleration. It's also better suited to heavier riders, but it costs more, has a 1 meter longer stopping distance and is 6.4 pounds heavier. Next on the list is the Turboant V8. It has a 15% faster tested top speed and a 31% longer tested range, which both equate to an extra 2.6 miles per hour and 6 miles. It also has 2 batteries, one of which is swappable, meaning you can extend its range indefinitely. But it takes twice as long to stop, equating to an extra 2.7 meters. It's also 11.2 pounds heavier. Its build quality isn't as good. It has inferior lights, there's no mobile app, and it has a less protective IP54 water resistance rating. Its 12-month warranty is inferior too. Continuing with the Turboant brand, you may want to consider the X7 Max, especially if you want an even cheaper scooter. It also has a 1.2 miles per hour faster tested top speed and, like the V8, a swappable battery, meaning you can extend your range. However, its build quality is no way near as good and it has an inferior 12-month warranty. It also has an ever so slightly shorter tested range of 1 less mile. It takes 1 meter longer to stop, has a less protective IPX4 water resistance rating, there's no mobile app, and it has inferior lights, as well as a frame that isn't as well balanced. Last but by no means least is the SPLACH Turbo. Now, this is a scooter to consider if shock absorption is at the top of your priority list. This is all thanks to its dual springs and swing arm suspension. Its 48-volt 600-watt motor also gives it a 19% 10% faster tested top speed, equating to an extra 8.6 miles per hour, and, as to be expected, a 36% quicker acceleration. Then there's its bigger battery that results in 3 extra miles of real-world range, and it's more compact when folded as a result of its foldable handlebars and telescopic stem. However, to get your hands on it, you're going to have to spend more money, while also making sacrifices with a less effective lighting rig, a less protective IPX5 water resistance rating, an 8.2 pounds heavier frame, no mobile app, and most important of all, a much shorter 6-month warranty. Now, to find out more about the VMAX VX5 Pro or any of the alternatives, click on the links in the description, where you'll also find exclusive discount codes. Thanks for watching.